Hello, all you readers. We're ready for another day of ELA review. So I hope you've been enjoying this week, reviewing some of those main concepts that were on the benchmark that we maybe need a little help with and review. Also, we've had some great Storyline Online stories this week, so we'll have another one today. So we're looking at today two standards, and the first one says this: explain the major differences between poems, drama, and stories. Now, we've read a lot of stories. We've read one drama, but we really haven't read any poems. So that's probably why you had a little trouble with this one. We've not talked a lot about the structural elements of poetry. And in this question that's about poems, you have to refer to the structural elements, which means you have to tell what they are in the poem, tell the difference between the poem and the story that you had to read. So again, first thing you had to make sure you read the poem and the story, but you may not know the terms in this question. And I think that's probably why you missed it. So let's take a look at it. And it says, the question asks about what you read in both passages, The Peddler of Swaffham and the poem, A Mortifying Mistake. Then it says, how do the structural elements used in the passage and the poem differ? So you had this story, The Peddler of Swaffham, and you had the poem. So the structural elements, they are how the story is arranged. So the correct answer is this down here. To organize ideas, the passage uses paragraphs. Just about everything we've read is written in paragraphs. The poem uses stanzas. We're going to take a look tomorrow at that poem. You remember it probably. It's about a girl trying to remember her multiplication facts, and she can't, so she names her doll 54 to remember what 6 times 9 is, and then when the teacher asks her what 6 times 9 is, she tells her doll's name accidentally. So you probably don't know this word stanzas. Now, we did talk about in ELA, we talked about songs having verses and choruses, but we've not talked about poems that instead of being in paragraphs, they're in stanzas. So we'll get to that. We'll go and review that. You're going to do it today, just a little bit to review too. And so that's okay that you probably didn't understand what this word was because we haven't covered it yet. So I'm not too terribly concerned about that. Now, however, I think the second standard that we didn't do so well on, we've covered it, and I thought you should have probably did a little better than you did on these. And there were two questions about the main idea of text and explain how they're supported by key details and being able to summarize a text. So let's go to these questions right here on main idea. Well, we want to skip that one. Okay.
Poetry, prose,
hang on a second.
drama.
There we go. The main idea of that text about the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef, the question, the main idea was seeing the Great Barrier Reef in person is more incredible than one may imagine. And so you have to read the whole text. That's the key. You've got to read the whole text and try to think, what is the author trying to tell us? Look at the title of the text. Great Barrier Reef. That's the title. Look at the pictures in it. What's happening in the pictures? What is the author talking about in the story? Then you kind of have to make that generalization. What is the main idea of this text? From all that I've read, from the pictures, from the title, from the captions, what is the main idea? This is the answer to that question. You could probably go back and eliminate some of the choices. Now, we're not going to read the whole text because it would take us an hour to read all the text and do the questions and do all the other things I want to do today. So we're not going to do that, but I am going to show you a video on main idea, a song, in just a minute. The second question was about that Lego League that we looked at yesterday, about how it was written in consecutive order. It was written, I can't even think of the word. It was written in the order that it happened. And so the main idea of that story was this. First, Lego League is a program for students around the world which they solve actual problems through building robots. So that's what that whole story that you read was about. It was about them developing this program, the little robot, and then they worked with Lego to create a program where students could solve problems through building robots all around the world. So that was the main idea of that text. Okay, so to help you today understand the difference between poems and stories and dramas. And we're going to watch a little video. You're going to watch this. It's not that exciting. It's more factual based, but you need to listen to it, okay? So it's just a teacher teaching the differences between those things. So take a listen to this. I think it's about 5 minutes long. And then to cover main idea, review it. There's a main idea song. This song gives you lots of clues, lots of pointers on how to find the main idea of a story. Now, after you go through all the slides today, you can listen to our story for our Storyline Online story today. And it's a Christmassy one. And it's called The Elves and the Shoemaker. And after she reads the story, she kind of talks about the main idea of the story being to give with all of your heart. And so listen to her explanation at the end as she talks about the main idea of the story, okay? All right, enjoy your lesson today. Make sure you listen to all the slides, then listen to the story, and then I want you to go take an AR test on it. That's your assignment. See you tomorrow.